All right, thank you everybody for being here today. This time I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the San Bernardino International Airport Authority. Today is Wednesday, March the 26th, 2025, and it's approximately 5:03 p.m. And Madam Clerk, if you would please do roll call.
Certainly. Please state your name for the record. Member from the City of Colton.
Frank Navarro.
Member from the City of Loma Linda. Okay. Member from the County of San Bernardino 5th District.
Baca Jr. present.
Member from the City of Highland.
Penny Lilburn.
And members from the City of San Bernardino.
Theodore Sanchez here. Fred Charette here.
Okay.
Also in the audience we have Councilmember Jana Cheverria from Colton.
Yes. Thank you so much. We have quorum.
Thank you. And at this time, I'm going to get ready for us to go into closed session. So I will ask the city attorney to read us into closed session, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are two items for closed session, both of them pending litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, subsection A. The commission will meet with the Chief Executive Officer and General Counsel related to pending litigation. And there are two pending litigation matters. First is Franco versus San Bernardino International Airport Authority. And the second is Lee versus San Bernardino International Airport Authority. And the case numbers are listed in the agenda.
Thank you very much. We will adjourn to closed session and we will reconvene shortly. Thank you much. All right, at this time, we're going to reconvene, and I'll ask legal counsel to read us out of closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As to both items in closed session, no reportable action was taken, direction was given.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the agenda. This time, I'd like to call to order the open session of the agenda, and I will ask Councilmember Theodore Sanchez to read us the pledge.
We can all rise, face the flag, right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember. Madam Clerk, do we have any items to be added or deleted to today's agenda? Thank you.
We do not.
Thank you much. Item F, conflict of interest disclosures from commission members. Hearing none, seeing none, we move on to item G, informational items. And Mr. Burrows, if you would please.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first one is just a quick look back on our new Provo nonstop service with Breeze. Mr. Gibbs and I had a discussion with the Breeze team last week, and happy to report that that route is performing above their expectations. And for the record, to see it for himself, Mr. Gibbs and his family have taken the exact flight and will be coming back this weekend. So we'll get a direct report from passenger testimonial there. So, but appreciate your support on that. And Breeze says that they are happy and you know, enjoying the performance on both sides of it, the crews as well as the traveling passengers. So
Good.
the other one is with all the discussions of funding in DC, I do want to report that the recent approval of the continuing resolution to fund the government through the end of fiscal year actually had some good things for airports. So one of the few agencies that got funded at the prior 2024 levels was FAA. So the Airport Improvement Program through the FAA reauthorization bill in 2024 was increased from $3.5 billion to $4 billion. The CR that we're currently under is at the $4 billion level, which means that the current FAA grant projects that we're working on bidding right now do have the funds available to be able to move them along this year. So that's where we're proceeding post haste, and there was some good email traffic here just yesterday with the FAA, hopefully allow us to get that taxiway project out for bid ASAP. So.
Okay, so based on that FAA funding that was increased under the CR, could you give us a list of the projects that we're looking forward to funding?
So it's the two projects. So we have a taxiway and shoulder repair project. That's the big one. And then we also have an additional airfield painting component of that is a separate package, but essentially bid contemporaneously. That's what was on the capital improvement plan with FAA for this year. So we're not losing any projects. That's the good news.
Now, does that give us the ability to include our requirements for radar improvements?
Yes. That's the other thing is the increase for tower funding, including equipment, was also held at the 2024 level with the language provisions that Congressman Aguilar and Senator Padilla got inserted for airports like us. So,
okay.
And we're moving that process along as well. So.
Thank you. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, Chairman. No, I appreciate, Mike, your great work with our our legislators, with Congressman Aguilar and Senator Padilla. I think that's great that you've been able to advocate and bring dollars back. I just want to have a question about, in regards to the Breeze flights. I guess my question is, as the flights have increased, have we looked at point of sale? Who gets point of sale on the flights?
So the actual sale of the ticket is via the airline. It is done through a web-based app of theirs, flybreeze.com. And unless you're going to the counter to purchase the ticket, the point of sale is via their app.
Okay.
So that, there is occasion for some people if they choose to go to the ticket counter to purchase at that, but that is very limited in duration.
Is that negotiable or sharing? Is that an option?
No.
At some point in time?
No, yeah, that's in the airline world. That is their revenue. They have to report it, account for it, and provide that to the FAA on a regular basis.
Jet fuel? Was jet fuel?
Jet fuel, we do sell.
Okay.
Yeah, that point of sale is here, and Mr. Kuzno loves the calculating the taxes on jet fuel. So.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, if as we have more flights, we accumulate jet fuel tax, right?
As the airline buys fuel, sure.
Okay, and I guess my question is, has that increased? And maybe Kuzno can answer that since Breeze has kind of taken flight. I'm just trying to understand it.
So, I mean, they typically buy relatively small amounts of fuel because they're making short hops both to Provo and San Francisco, and they typically only fuel their aircraft to get to those locations. So I would say generally you're looking at less than 1,000 gallons of flight that's going up. And typically we pay we prepay sales tax on that. Then there's an additional amount of sales tax that comes on to that, as well as all the federal and state excise taxes. So those are then divvied up and brokered up, and depending on how, and I can't recall this, but they're either using one of the corporate ones, we actually get 13 cents per gallon, and then 11 cents per gallon for a fuel flowage fee that comes through, and then that actually comes in to the airport as revenue.
Okay, so that comes to SBIAA.
It does, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't go to the cities or anything.
No. So again, that state excise tax it is a ongoing discussion between FAA and the State Department of Finance, because there is a requirement for those funds to be available to be reinvested into airports. That has not been the case for a number of years, so that's been an ongoing dialogue with the LA FAA office and the state to try to potentially free up some of those funds to be able to come back to airport expenditures. So,
Right. Thank you, Chair.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Surratt?
If it hasn't been recommended yet, I'd like to suggest that Breeze Airway, in an effort to expand their flights, that they take a look at Reno. That might be a really good. And
I've never heard you say that, Fred, but
we'd be selling more fuel, and I just think that they ought to look at that if they haven't.
So, Yahaira, help me get a recording of this so I can take it to him next week when we meet. I will carry it personally, Fred. That concludes our.
No other requests for comment or questions? Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item H, I present the consent calendar of items 3 through 8. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Baca moves.
Second.
Baca moves. Second, Sanchez.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Sanchez. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Lilburn?
Yes.
Member Baca?
Baca, aye.
Member Charette?
Yes.
And Member Sanchez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to commission action items. Item number 9 is to receive and file the annual independent financial audit report of the San Bernardino International Airport Authority, and this is done by Mr. Mark Cusino, our Director of Finance.
Right, thank you, Mayor. This item is to receive and file the annual independent financial audit report of the SBIAA for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. We have with us today in the audience Mr. David Showalter, partner with Eide Bailey. And Mr. Showalter is here to present the results of the audit and respond to the Commission's questions. His presentation will cover the audit objective and standards, responsibility and roles, audit results, and then any questions that you might have. And I would like to add that the finance team is very appreciative of the audit team's professionalism and patience in a year in which they had to audit 2 financial accounting systems and bring us forward going into the next year, excuse me, in conjunction with our new ERP. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, members of the Commission. My name is David Showalter with Eide Bailey, and I will be presenting the results of the audit for the June 30th, 2024 financial statements, which begins, I believe, on page 75 of your package. I have a couple other items that I'll discuss with you as well that I don't think are included in your package, but we do have a required communications letter and also a government audit standards report that I'll cover as well. Starting on page 75, which is the financial statements, when you get a few pages into that is our independent auditors report, which you'll see the report titled as such. And the opinion is the first paragraph, which simply says that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So it is a clean opinion on the financial statements. So great job to Mark and his team on doing a great job this year with closing out the financials and working through an accounting system implementation in the middle of all that. So that did have a little bit of an impact on our audit, as you can imagine, but we did get through it, and pleased to say that we were able to give a clean opinion on the financial statements. With respect to our required communications, I don't think you have that letter, but I'll summarize it briefly. We have a responsibility to communicate the results of the audit to you, communicate any accounting changes, significant accounting policies, and other matters in the audit. There were no new accounting matters, no new accounting pronouncements this year, which has been the first since probably a few years with the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. They've been very busy with new accounting pronouncements. We did not have any difficulties with the audit. We did have a few audit adjustments with respect to this year's audit, which is pretty normal in an audit. We would expect there to be a few audit adjustments when we do conduct the audit, and those adjustments were we had one that was corrected dealing with the lease receivable, and we had a few that were passed dealing with leases receivable as well, but they were not material to the financial statements taken as a whole. We had no disagreements with management, and as far as we know, management did not consult with any other accountants. And on the government audit standards report, so because the authority is a governmental entity, we do conduct the audit in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards. And so what that requires is for us to report out to you any internal control matters as it relates to financial reporting and compliance. And this year we had two findings in the audit. We had one related to the supervisor approval of time cards. So as we go through and we're testing internal controls over payroll, we had some instances where there were some time cards not approved. So we reported that out. And then we had an instance where there was a lease receivable that wasn't recorded. That was part of the audit adjustment that we had. And so we just reported that out as a finding as well. So management has taken responsibility for those items and had provided their corrective action. And so when we conduct the audit next year, we'll follow up on those items to make sure that the corrective action was implemented. But overall, I want to thank Mark and his team for the audit this year and helping us get through it. And we're looking forward to working with Mark and his team on the next year's audit as we approach it very quickly here. So thank you.
It's right around the corner.
Right around the corner, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for your report.
Absolutely.
Do you have any, Penny?
I just have a question. Mark, we had a spreadsheet. Was that something different, or was that for our own use?
That was a summary of
The recap of this.
the recap of the GAGAS report, generally accepted
Okay.
government auditing standards, as well as the required communications with the board, as well as the internal control deficiencies that we received as a management comment.
As well as the response. So I just want to say, good job. All the activity that goes on here, I think Mark did a great job, and appreciate the hard work, and the Finance and Budget Subcommittee, you did a great job in going over all these items and explaining them to us.
Thank you. And transition into a new accounting program is
Absolutely.
not an easy.
That's not easy.
Not
at
an
all.
easy onion to peel.
Okay.
No, that's it.
All right,
Dave.
thank you. Thank you.
And this is a receive and file item. We move now to item number 10 on commission action items. This is the approve a technical correction to amendment number 1 to the amended and restated land lease agreement with Ashley Furniture Industries. Mr. Burrows, if you would please.
Yeah, I'll pick this one up for Daryl for a change. So that was a very long title to say, when this was before you last month, we had a typo in the amendment that Ashley caught. And so the total budget amount not to exceed number that was referenced in the prior amendment that was drafted and presented to you was 7.5 million. They advised that their adjusted budget with their contingency amount is 7.7 million, which of course, if it does get to that level, would adjust the amortization of the rent credit that's provided in the actual lease. So for full disclosure, we wanted to correct that, get that back in front of you. Materially doesn't change the substance of the principal terms. It's still a 15-year lease with an ability to recapture the property for airport use anytime after year 10. And again, the rent credit will actually be verified on actual expenses at the time construction's completed, which they still do anticipate is on track for this summer. So that's it in a nutshell, and would appreciate your support to move this forward.
Questions, comments? Mr. Baca?
Nope, just move the item. I think it's great.
Baca moves.
I'll second.
Lilburn seconds. Madam Clerk, our vote, please.
Yes, we have a motion by Member Baca and a second by Member Lilburn. Please state your votes for the record. Member Navarro?
Yes.
Member Lilburn?
Yes.
Member Baca?
Hawkeye.
Member Charette?
Yes.
And Member Sanchez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 11, this is a review of the status action plan for San Bernardino International Airport. Mr. Burrows.
So I'll be very brief going into next month's agenda. We had actually been on track to give you an update on the grants themselves. Of course, a little bit of prelude there with the legislative update. So we'll have a little more detail on those and the funding levels now that we've reconciled all that with FAA. And hopefully you can report that those are on their street being bid. So, and that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any added or deferred items?
We do not.
Thank you very much. And you'll notice that I didn't ask for public comment on those three action items because the audience in the chambers does not present itself to receive public comment. Thank you. And this is regular open session public comment. Do we have any of that?
We do not. No,
Thank
sir.
you. Commission member comments. Ms. Lilburn,
Nothing.
turn your light off, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
None? Okay, thank you. There being no other business to attend to for the authority, we are adjourned.